Yehya for being here tonight. This year's Student Award winner is actually exceptional because he's not Arab American. I just found out he's Arab Canadian. So I don't know if that's going to disqualify him. He's truly an outstanding candidate. I just want to say that NAAP was actually founded by students looking to make a difference on and off campus. And this year's award winner is no exception. Omar Abboud, as president of Turab of the Columbia University Arab Student Association, has successfully helped create a student presence and an Arab voice on campus. He was able to successfully coordinate the first Ivy League Arab Student Conference at Columbia, and his academic achievements and his desire to give Arab students a voice on campus and his leadership skills make him an outstanding candidate for this year's award. Please welcome him. Omar Abboud from Columbia University.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the Arab Canadian distinction. I was finding a way to gently include that. But first of all, so thank you very much to NAAP for this great honor. I struggled a lot with deciding on what to talk to you for the next few minutes about this evening. I'm especially surprised at having received this award because the work I do on my campus, Columbia University, isn't especially interesting. Basically, I meet with students. I figure out the challenges they face as Arabs at Columbia. I attempt to mediate long and difficult discussions about the issues in the world pertaining to our region and how we as students at an American university should be reacting to them. And then I meet with deans, a lot of them, and guide them through how the administration can be making us, the Arab students, feel less like we're part of a problem. Of course, I don't need to stand here and tell you why we aren't part of any problem, the least of which being that we're joined by such remarkable Arab Americans, such as Ayman Dean and Ahmed Dean. And more importantly, this is a process that countless students I know in other communities deal with every day. And in a way, being somewhat swallowed by a large bureaucracy can make it difficult to keep sight of what your goal is and who you are as a person. I'm sure the professionals amongst you that work in large companies probably feel the same way. So when it comes to me thinking about this award and telling you what it means and why it's important to me, I think about the idea of overcoming odds. I am an undergraduate student pursuing a degree in industrial engineering and operations research. I am a Canadian-Lebanese dual citizen and grew up with one foot here, one foot there. My grandfather on my father's side ran a small shipping business in Port Said, and my grandfather on my mother's side was a Palestinian refugee who, at the age of 18, faced the most difficult decision of his life to leave his homeland of Palestine with a bag of his belongings, a transcript noting his half-completed university degree, and a future with little promise. As a dedicated and ambitious student, he was one of only 8 in his native town of Safar to attend high school, and the only one to be accepted at the Arab College in Jerusalem. Partway through his studies, when the college was shut down and Palestinians began to flee the country, his dream of one day continuing his education here in the United States was shattered. As a refugee, he spent the next several years working at various teaching jobs all over the Middle East, trying to survive on his own. Always committed to his goal, my grandfather worked hard under dire circumstances and living conditions to save money and make plans for his future. The odds were against him in every way I could ever imagine. The odds were against me in the sense that I couldn't communicate my academics, SAT scores, and extracurriculars in an enticing enough way at the age of 18. And at that age, my grandfather was trying to enter the system from a small village in Kuwait where he was teaching math and sending the little money he made back to his family in Syria. But in 1955, after months of correspondence with a number of American colleges and receiving 3 full tuition scholarships, he crossed the Atlantic Ocean on an Italian liner, scrubbing dishes under the boat, and arrived at Ellis Island. Many more difficult years followed as he was faced with different challenges in the US, but in 1965, his American dream, so to speak, was realized when he received his PhD in civil engineering from the University of Kansas. In a way, it's a little ironic for me to be telling you this because my grandfather's story may be very well familiar to you. Palestinians and all Arabs have faced insurmountable challenges at home and abroad in recent history. But what's important in this story for me is focusing not only on what he did, but how this has affected what I and what each and every one of us can do. When life threw him unexpected turns and challenged him with obstacles that few could overcome, my grandfather was determined to go on, and he liked to remind me that although material possessions may have been taken away from him, nobody could ever take away his education. So his story matters to me because it was from him that I was instilled with the high value of education as a means to freedom. And so it was with this attitude that I approached TARAT, the Arab Students Association at Columbia, during my very first week as an undergraduate student. Many of my peers were either intimidated by our administration or felt that their problems were illegitimate, and resolved to accept whatever our superiors allowed us to do, basically just some movie screenings and social events. I could not understand why students thought it was out of their reach to try more and try harder. They told me that dean is way too high up and there's no way they will listen to us, but I didn't care and did it anyways. And in February of my freshman year, we held a meeting with 3 of Columbia's most high-ranking deans, and I must say that after this meeting, everything changed for us. I'm proud to say that TARAT is one of Columbia's most active cultural organizations and has joined the campus-wide conversation to make the lives of students at our university better. And despite the progress that has been made over 3 short years I've spent here, there is and always will be more that can be done. So I want this award to remind students out there that no challenge should faze you. Make your voice heard and don't be afraid to make what you want known to others. Finally, I want to dedicate this award to my grandfather. He passed away 4 weeks ago, and although he may no longer be with us, I know that his legacy lives on through his family and through all the people out there trying to make the world a better place for Arabs and all people. I was recently looking through all the documents he amassed over the years, and I actually found the I-20 he was issued to obtain a student visa, the same document I have now, which allows me to study here. And at the top, mine says Omar Abboud, nationality Canadian. My grandfather says Abdurrahim, nationality stateless. And in 2 generations, to go from stateless to New York City and Columbia University, it shows that with hard work and determination, overcoming any odds and achieving anything is possible. So thank you to NAAP.